Well, I'm going to start recording, and you already have your own little intro, so I'm just going to immediately pass it off to you. Go ahead, go do your
All
thing.
right, sweet. First off, I just want to say thank you guys for joining on. It means so much to me. Um, hi, my name is B. I also go as Beacasso on all my socials. Beacasso is basically just a combination between Pablo Picasso's name and my name morphed into one. Been a little high school username, so I just carried on with that username for a very long time. But yeah, here we are. Is the birth of Picasso. So I'm a fashion and portrait photographer based in Los Angeles, California. I've been shooting for about, I'd say, it changes every time I answer this question. To anyone who asks, it's always around like 6 to 7 years, but I've been shooting for a lot longer than that. But I feel like I took it a lot more seriously right after I graduated high school. So it's been about like 6 to 7 years, a little bit more, a little bit less. So how it all started basically, I graduated high school and I'm like, okay, photography is going to be my thing. What do I do now? Right. And so I didn't have a digital camera at all. I just started taking photos using my phone and just going around taking photos of everything. And basically, I just had the urge. I'm like, okay, I need to get my digital camera. I have to make this official, but how do I do that? So I got my first job just at a retail store. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to save all my paychecks until I get this digital camera. And I don't know how to use it, but I'll figure it out. I just have to get this first. And so basically, that's how it all went. I saved all my paychecks, and that went towards my Canon T6i. That was my first ever camera, and I didn't know how to use it. I looked up a lot of YouTube videos, but I'm a more of a in-person visual learner type of thing. So I did take up some community college courses. That's where I learned how to use my digital camera. So that's where I learned ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and I'm like, whoa, what is all this? I was really confused because I've never held a camera, never even seen one in my hands before. So I was just really on confusion. Um, so from that point on, I just started to, I took these community college courses. I learned how to use my digital camera properly. And I also took a film photography course, which, fun fact, I hated film photography. I was like, absolutely not. I will not do this ever again. The amount of film that I ruined is just ridiculous. So, which is so funny now because that's all I really do. But in the beginning, that's something I just didn't like. So I also took some studio photography courses where I learned how to play with lights in the studio, like strobes, and just kind of play around, mess around. Um, and after I was in college for about, I'd say like 3 to 4 years. And at that point, I was just like, okay, what do I do now? I really want to take photography a little bit more seriously. I want to take it to the next level. How do I do this every day? Because this retail job is not cutting it for me. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So what I did was I just started making these like photography accounts in every social media known to existence at that point. I think it was around like 2017. That's where I just hopped on to Twitter. And I already had a Twitter in high school, but it was more for like funs and giggles type of thing. But I came across a photography community on Twitter, and that's where everything just changed for me. I found a community of people around my age group that did the same thing I did. And it was very different from community college because I was around really old people, which is really funny to say. They were much older than me. So it was very hard for me to relate to them in any way. It was just very like an old school type of way where it's like um they're like, oh, you can't Photoshop your film photos type of thing. So it was really interesting seeing this community on Twitter where I can relate to most of the photographers there since we're around the same age. And they really helped me in my growth as a photographer because most of them did do portrait photography, which was something I was really interested in at that point. And I was like, okay, I have so much learning to do because most of them were photographers for a long time. So I really did take in a note and just learned from them and grew myself. So in that community, I also gained confidence and I just started sharing my work every single day. And not because I felt forced to, like I was forcing myself to, but it felt so just genuine and like they were sharing their work and I'm like, okay, I want to join in and show my work too. So that really gave me that confidence to just post my work. And from that point on, I was just kind of like, okay, how do I even grow further than this? How do I get clients? Because posting was helping me a lot find clients online because that's how I find my clients. I find them all through social media. So and from social media they'll email me or that's how we'll keep contact. But social media was basically the growth of it all because we can't really go around going out with like the poster saying book me, I'm a photographer. It's like social media makes it easier for us but also harder in a way because with the algorithms and just everything, like they'll push whatever that's trending at the moment. So it's really hard for us to kind of grow into that world, but it really helps us if you like really think into it and be like, okay, social media is a tool, so might as well use it, right? So I guess in the beginning I just felt so confident, but it was also a little bit intimidating because I'm like, okay, I was a very small account and I grew throughout the years just because of the community that I was in on Twitter that kind of just expanded me as a photographer. And that's how clients book me because they saw my work. So I really thank Twitter for that, honestly. But now I'm growing on Instagram a little bit more with Instagram Reels coming through, which was something. First of all, I just want to start talking about Instagram Reels for a minute. In the beginning, I guess it's like fairly new. I think it started rolling in 2020, and I know there's a lot of just positives and negatives when it comes to that, which is, I guess, it's a good and bad thing. The positives is that they were Instagram in general, they were pushing out reels like crazy. And it was just something that came to me as a confusion because I'm like, how do I how do I kind of mold myself as a photographer into this video world because I don't do video. So I was just kind of a little bit bummed out at first because I'm like, okay, Instagram just stopped pushing out photos. People don't even see my photos and posts anymore. They're just pushing out video content, which is it's a little bit of a bummer, but honestly, I saw that as a positive in a way because I was like, okay, since they're prioritizing these things, I guess I got to mold my world into theirs. And so I can just push myself a little bit further since they're already taking Instagram Reels to the next level and there's so many people on it already, thanks to TikTok, which is something I will get on after this. But Instagram Reels was just like a big old thing. And I'm like, okay, how do I even work this thing? So I just started posting behind the scenes videos, which is something that's very important for photographers to do. And I stand by this forever. Even if you don't have someone recording you, just have a little tripod out with your phone and just kind of film everything that's going on wherever you are. So I did that. It was very something that I just didn't. I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to like do anything in the video world. So it was just something that I just posted for fun, and it grew, and my account grew from that. So I was just like, in the beginning, I didn't know anything to now like kind of knowing something about video work and kind of having fun with it, which is something funny to say because I don't really like video work at all. I'm a photographer. Like, we're not supposed to be doing it all, right? Because, you know, we're only human. We can focus on one thing and like not like the other thing. But if you like photo and video, kudos to you because I cannot mold those two worlds together. But yeah, so TikTok really in that world kind of pushed Instagram Reels to kind of do that thing where it's like, okay, Instagram, how are we going to make TikTok? And then here's here's our thing. So that's something that we kind of have to jump on and kind of grow with the world as it keeps, keeps going further. I mean, unfortunately, like I wish it was Instagram was still more about photos and less about all the other things, but I guess it's just another I guess I'd like to say that it's another way for us to expand, as well as TikTok. I hated TikTok, I really did, and I still kinda don't like it as much, but, um and which is so strange because I like Instagram Reels and TikTok. I guess I don't know, I guess it's because of the community around the TikTok that I don't really resonate with, but, um I just post the same content from Instagram to TikTok. Like, we don't have to do it all, right? So we can find hacks through it, honestly. Um, Another thing that I really wanted to just talk about is as much as the world grows and there's like all these other platforms, like there's YouTube Reels. I don't even know what they're called. There's like YouTube thing where it's kind of like TikTok. Um, you don't have to post on everything. You don't have to force content if you don't want to. It's just make it seem natural to you to post onto these accounts and make social media fun and not something that you have to really stress about, which is something that I find myself doing a lot sometimes where kind of I get so much in my head where I'm like, what do I caption this post? What do I hashtags? What even is that? So it's good to just kind of take a step back and be like, okay, it's not all about that. Don't stress yourself. Social media is a tool and use it as such. You can have fun with it. It's not something that's super like businessy. It doesn't have to be that way. You can have fun with it. Um, and also a thing too is you never know who's watching you, right? Like not in a weird like you don't know who's watching you, but in a good positive way where it's like you don't know who's watching you. You don't know if like the creative director of Nike is for a photographer and they come across your photo on their search page or they see your Instagram reel or however they find you. So it's really important to keep that in note because sometimes I can fall victim to that where I get really shy when posting on social media, even though there's a screen in front of me, like there's no one around me to like pressure me into it. But it's, like I get a little bit scared sometimes. Like, okay, I haven't posted in a while. What if, like, just recently, I'm like, I haven't been posting on Instagram for about, I would say like 2 or 3 weeks, and just posting something new is a little bit scary. Even though there's nothing coming out of that, it's just like that pressure of like, I hope people like it and I hope this does well. So it's also important to like relax a little bit and just it's not it's not that serious. It's something that we can like kind of work through because it's important that we post photos and it's important for us to really get our work out there. It doesn't matter how or what. It could be photos, it could be Instagram Reels, TikToks, or if you have a Twitter, you can post photos on there too. It's just it has to come naturally and organically to you. You can't force yourself to do it, right? But it's really important to push content out there. I get in my head a lot where I'm like, I just even if it's like my most confident work, I'm like, this is so good, but I'm so scared to post it. But why? I don't know. I guess it's like the perfectionism of it all, where we're just kind of like, oh, I just hope it, like someone likes it, right? But you have like followers that really they're there to see you and support you, and they're really interested in your work, and that's why it's so important for us to share it not for us to only, gain of, like clients or following or the right kind of people to see it, but it's really important for people out there too to see their work, see your work because they're a fan of you. That's why they're following you and that's why they're supporting you. And they're just waiting online until you're ready to post something. So always think about those people because they're gonna get you so far in life, right? Um, so I just really wanted to put that out there because not only is work really important for us as photographers, and it's important for us to just build and keep growing, but it's also important for us to remember, not our, I guess, our fans, but like people that are generally there that like your work and they want to support you and they want to see you grow. They're waiting for us to be posting. So, yes, I just want to give you a little motivational speech there because those people are much more important than anything, right? Um, so I had another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Um, being yourself online is very important, okay? And I know it's like something you've heard all your life where it's like, be yourself. That's how you're gonna make friends. But truly, like being yourself online is very important. And that's not only going to get you clients, but it's also going to help you find friends and find that community of people that support you, right? So it's in terms of that, I guess in the past few years, I've opened up a little bit and started to be a little bit more silly online. I really am such a goofball, like personally, and I really am. To those that know me, I'm such a goofball. So I kind of mended my personality with making Instagram reels and even like through my captions when I'm posting photos, I make sure that I'm not just posting. I mean, sometimes I feel like poetic and I'm like, okay, here's a poetic caption on my photo. But sometimes I really want to get into the nitty-gritty and be like, um, and just like open my heart a little bit about a photo and be like, hey, like I really love this photo because my team was so amazing and just talk about that shoot and I even open up about like the types of lights that I use on set. So I start talking about my process a little bit, and those are usually for the photographers that follow me. Most of my following are photographers, so it's so good for them to like see that and just have comments or either questions or they have a little bit to say about my light setup. So it's good to keep that community of people around you and just kind of open up yourself a little bit more and like um it's good to know, I guess, for the people that follow you online or your potential clients, it's really important for them to see who the photographer is and not just your beautiful photos. You know what I mean? It's good to see, here's your face, here are your photos, which is like what Twitter does really well in the photography community. They do every now and then, it's like artist versus photo. So it's really important for us to kind of connect the artist to the art sometimes, right? And kind of remind people that we are humans and we're not robots, which most clients do think we're robots sometimes just because we hold a camera. Like, can you Photoshop that? Can you Photoshop that? Yeah, so it's really important for us to kind of open up a little bit on social media, even though like it's not, social media isn't that serious and you can just like hang out and just use it as a playground. And that's what I've been doing lately. And it's been working in my favor because clients get to see my personality before even booking a shoot with me. It's really important for them to feel like they kind of already know you because they're most likely willing to book you for a next shoot because they're like, okay, I kind of see how this person is behind the camera and how I'm going to be feeling when we're shooting together in wherever the setting may be. So, like for example, I just had a shoot with this client that found me through Instagram and she said, you're exactly how you are on social media. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. No, I'm kidding. It's a good thing. But it's just really good for them to say that because they do feel a little bit more comfortable with you without even meeting you face to face, or you know what I mean? Like having a in-person connection with you. So open up yourself a little bit more. I say this to most of my photographer friends that we're kind of photographers are kind of like entertainers in a way, not like in a circus way, but in a way where we always have to kind of keep the vibes up. I mean, keep a good flow going on. Like, for example, you're in a photo shoot, someone doesn't want to book you just for them to like take your photo. They're looking at the whole experience of a photo shoot. So they might like your work, right? They're scrolling through your feed and they're like, oh, I really like this photographer's work, right? That's like check one. Check two is like, okay, but I don't know who this person really is. They're not showing their face online. Like, I don't really see what's going on. You're more likely to get booked if you have some sort of like personality going on your feed, right? Like some sort of something that like separates you from another photographer, another artist, however that may be. That's a big point because sometimes we're on set for about 6 hours. The other day I was on set for 8 hours, and so the energy. I was working with a larger team, so um, it was just an 8 hours full day shoot where we did like 3 different makeup looks, 3 different hairs. So that's really tiring for everybody involved. So it's really good to have someone in the team, like a photographer, for example, that has the vibes going on because you're on set for so long, you're looking for some sort of fun on set. So that's important for brands to reach out to you too, because usually you're looking for like a 12-hour day or something like that. So they're looking for a photographer that knows how to keep the vibes going on, and their work has to be awesome, of course. But personality is something that everyone looks for, especially for me when I'm looking for a model that I'm doing a test shoot for. I'm like, hey, let me see. I usually have my friends to model for me because I kind of already know them, and it's a little bit harder for me to reach out to newer models because like I see their photos on Instagram and they look amazing and awesome, but it's a little bit more intimidating because I don't really know them in that way, and it's hard to come like to see their personality through photos. So it's really important to showcase that either through like an Instagram story or an Instagram reel or photos or something like that. It's very important to just to be yourself and to showcase a little bit more about you. Um, so enough of that. I think I have 2 more points I really wanted to address before we get to questions. Um, sorry guys, I'm looking through my notes. I think it's covered most of them. Okay. I wanted to say that although like it can feel a little bit discouraging when it comes to I guess like social media's like algorithm and things, because not only it's ever so changing. There's things that are trending, like for example on TikTok there's like certain sounds that are trending or certain like types of videos that are trending. If you I'm not forcing anybody to use a certain app or be like you should be posting like this, because it shouldn't be that way. You should be creating content that you're proud of and that really resonates with you and what you want to be doing. Like for example, there's like some trends that I don't want to like. I try to always morph whatever is trending at the moment, even if it's not photography related, to like something that I would do and kind of morph the two together and see if that does well. But if I don't want to do it, I won't do it. It's just something that you have to decide for yourself, especially with posting. I know that um when it comes to like posting art, they always say, "Oh, you should be posting however so many posts a day or however so many posts a week." Like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. If it's not organic, like, don't. You can't be forcing content because it does feel a little bit disingenuous to your potential clients or your followers and things like that. So really don't do things if you don't want to be doing it. And if you're not having fun posting, then why post it, right? Or I see social media as more of like a playground than like a social media app. You're not supposed to be seeing that as something so serious, even though sometimes it can feel a little serious and overwhelming, especially with the captions and hashtags and all that stuff. It's too much for us to learn, and it's too much for us to kind of like apply it to our art or however you're posting your stuff. Um but yeah, have fun with it. Do not take things too seriously. Your clients are going to book you for the work that you do and for just being yourself online. And yeah, they're looking for someone that they can really vibe it out with and just create some cool photos. You make the best photos when you're the most comfortable. And I guess I mean like that's how I do it. Um if things get a little awkward in the beginning of every photo shoot, especially with someone new, because you're like, wait, I don't know. What types of music do you like? I usually start off with like, okay, what type of music do you want to listen to get the vibe going? Um, it's always a little bit awkward when you're starting out in a photo shoot, but towards the end, you leave with a new best friend. That's my goal for every photo shoot is, and that's the goal for like even social media. It's like I feel like followers to me, they're like my besties. When they reply to my reels or they reply to my story posts, it's important that they feel like they're part of your journey. I mean, they are part of your journey. That's why they're a follower. So um it's really important to make those friendships online because they're going to get you so far in your career and anything. So that's my biggest takeaway is to be yourself. Yes. Do I have any comments? I feel like I'm talking way too much.
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I love how like genuine you are about all of this. And I'm sure a lot of the photographers watching can kind of relate to a lot of you said, like being a photographer is like so much more than just being a photographer. And I really like your
Absolutely.
point too about you're like the vibe curator at shoots. Like you're the person that kind of has to keep the energy up because it's like
That's it.
it's literally all on you. So I really
We're
appreciate that.
entertainers.
Yeah, you got the
We're
whole
not
package.
it's not a circus, but you know, sometimes you got to play it out to be like
It feels like that. Well, we're definitely going to open up to questions. And if anyone that's tuning in has any questions, you can either drop it in the chat, can't speak, or raise your hand. We can call on you or read it out loud. And I can start with some that I have. I think for first, like you touched on, you kind of started in the Twitter community world. And now obviously like we see you slaying on Instagram Reels and TikTok and everything. If you had to pick one platform for a photographer to really hone in on and make that content, which platform do you think is the most beneficial right now?
all right. In 2017, I would say Twitter, but now Twitter is a whole new world up to like the NFTs. So I wouldn't recommend Twitter, although it's a great place to make friends because you're just, you know, typing it out. It's more about, you know, um, a text versus, you know, here's a photo and then, you know, like comment, like comparing that to Instagram. So I would say my number one social media right now is Instagram, which, oh, I know it's really hard to say because it's a very mixed review for every photographer right now, just because the algorithm is a mess and yeah, all those negative things. I've heard it all, and I feel that 1000%. But, I feel like once you kind of grow that little community, I mean, it's harder for Instagram to do that right now. But if you just like slap a comment onto like another photographer's post and just, hype them up, it has to be genuine. You can't just say, oh, this looks great, but in your head, it's like, ooh, this sucks. Yeah, it has to be a genuine connection. Be like, hey, this is awesome, or give them a DM, hey, you're a great photographer, and have that conversation opening up. And I've also met other photographers through Instagram also, where we're just like commenting on each other's work, hyping each other up, genuine, genuine interactions only, please. And that way you can make some really good connections and friends, and that will just open up your world a little bit more. So I think Instagram is just the place to be right now, but maybe that will change soon. But if you can, just say something nice to another photographer's post and give them a DM and see where that will lead you.
I like that. I feel like people forget, as much as Instagram sucks in many ways, like it's still a place where you can make it your community. It's still a place where you can find other people and support your other like photographer friend. Like anytime you're feeling kind of the downside of the algorithm, like your homie photographers are too. So help boost
We're
that.
all going through it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many followers you have. We're all just kind of like, we're going through it together. So it's good to leave comments here and there to support your friends, because that's our supporters.
Definitely. One other question that I have before we go into, I know we already have one in the chat. When it comes to figuring out your promoting yourself, but then also, I don't know, figuring out rates and how that comes into the question. Of course, you're pushing yourself, book me on Instagram, but then what happens when people maybe slide in, and how do you go about that conversation where maybe they don't have a budget you can work with, or it's an opportunity that wouldn't necessarily make sense for you to take on?
All right. So as far as someone else's working through someone else's budget goes, we get left on red all the time. I get left red all the time. Every time I send out an invoice where it's like, here are my rates, and it's dead silent. The best way to go through that is just to keep going, honestly. If someone can't afford you now, they'll be able to afford you later on. So just kind of hold on to that. Don't feel discouraged. I know a lot of photographers, and I've done that when I first started, lower their rates so then they can like kind of work through their, it's a rate that you both can come to agreement to. That can be a thing, but I would say stick to your rates. If they can't afford you right now, they will in the future, and give them a good reason why they should be saving their money for you. There's a good reason why they reached out to you in the first place. Don't let that discourage you. If they can't afford you, just wait on it. They'll be able to do it in the future. So yes, it's very hard, but I promise it's very worth it. And it's good to respect yourself too, because I've gotten some shoots where I didn't really want to do and the rates were really low, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And then I end up kind of regretting it because they ask for a little, like the clients will ask for a little too much, and that will put you in a hole. So that usually discourages me a little bit more than just saying, as if I would say, okay, then I'm sorry. You can reach out to me in a different time, or yeah, just give them a little pass, be like, oh, I'm sorry, but I hope we get to work together in the future. So stand your ground. I know it's hard, but you're respecting yourself, you're respecting your worth, and that's the number one thing, basically.
Oh, great answer. We're going to open up to some that we've come in the chat. We have one from Amy. Would you shoot a drag queen?
Yes, of course. That'd be amazing.
You're like, please hit me
Let's
up.
do
I
it.
was gonna say. Next, we have from Christian. Do you have any tips on pitching to brands or publications? It's a good question.
Okay. Yes, I do. either one, you can do a little mock photo shoot of, let's say you want to work for a skincare brand. So you do a little mock photo shoot where, let's say you don't have photos in your portfolio that really look like a skincare campaign, right? Um, it's good to set photo shoots where you can set out to a client and be like, hey, I would love to work with you. This is the type of work that I create, and have something that they can reference to. It's always works almost all the time. Even if it's like 2 or 3 photos of just showcasing your best work, kind of um just kind of mending that like skincare world. Just saying, for example, just like you're creating work that's mending the two worlds together. So your own creative photography style and their brand, and mend them together and just send it out and be like, this is what I can do for you if we were to work together. So it's really good to kind of have them visualize like, hey, this photographer is really good and I'm really interested in like working with them in the future, because they're able to see what you're capable of in that realm. So even let's say for Nike, and you're a portrait photographer and you're like, man, I really want to work for Nike, you would just grab a friend, grab some model friends if you have some, just go outside and just have them wear some Nike shoes and create a mock campaign and see if, I mean, online you can always try to find creative directors or someone in the team that you can try and connect to, and then you can email them and be like, hey, I would love to work with you. Let's see if we can make this happen. And yeah, it's done some wonders. So also always tag, let's say you did like a mock campaign shoot for Nike, always tag the company onto your post somewhere, because you'll never know when they're going to see it or if they'll see it, just keeping that, kind of manifesting that energy to come to you is very important. I've gotten so many opportunities just because I did a little tag on a post. So yeah, I hope that works out for you, because yeah, that's a great thing for you to do.
We have a follow-up actually on that. What method of contact is best to pitch brands? DM, email, phone call, etc. And how much detail should you include in that initial contact? Also a great question.
Yeah, that's great. I would do all of them besides the phone call. I would DM them. I would email them. If you're able to grab an email, that's even better, because then you can create a Google Drive folder of, let's say you created those mock photos. You can drop the mock photos in the Google Drive and throw it on there. Tell them a little bit about yourself. Be like, just kind of give a little intro, saying your name, and just say what you can do what can you do for them, right? So just be like, hey, don't say these words I'm going to say. I'm saying it more like in a casual way, but just kind of say, hey, I'm a photographer and my style focuses on this, this, and that. And I think we do great together. And this is what I can do for you. Companies like to hear that, hear what you can do for them and what's going to benefit them if you were to work together. They always like to hear that. So make sure you can create something really witty and be like, I can do this for you. And yeah, I hope that works out.
Like that. We're going to start wrapping up. So if there's any other additional questions, and we still have some more in the chat, feel free to put them in or raise your hand. Next, we'll go to Kevin. And I know you said you started photography a little bit in college, so this might not be as relevant, but how do I get a press pass as a college student?
Oh, a press pass? I don't think I've ever gotten one before, but I went to a community college, so that might be a little bit different. I just applied to some courses, some photography courses online, and I got in, and it's local to me, so I just went there and explored. I wasn't really particular in what types of photography courses I wanted to take. I know there's so many out there. I'm from LA, so there's a lot where I'm from, but I wasn't really particular in like searching for a certain kind of photography courses. I just kind of wanted to learn a little bit more about photography and went from there. But I'm sorry, I can't really answer your question because I don't know.
No, that's a great
I
question.
never had a pass.
Okay, we're gonna go to Karina. I'm gonna ask you to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been following you for a couple years, so this is kind of weird to me. But I
Thank you
wanted,
so
of course, I wanted to know what your thought process is like in the creative process. Like if you've started like your own shoots or you've been hired by clients, if they allow you to take part in the creative direction. And if so, how do you go about that? Is it mood boards? Are you able to talk to the client and brainstorm?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Here's something that I try to juggle the best. Creating mood boards, that's my number one thing. I love it. I do it on my downtime, even if I'm not going out and shoot it anytime soon. It's good to have those mood boards already made just in case there's someone that you really want to work with and you already have a bunch of mood boards that you can just pitch out to them, right? So it's really important to have those mood boards already made, just for not only fun, but it's good to just pitch out to clients or into brands saying, "Hey, look, I'm ready. I already have this mood board. I think this idea would look so great with whatever you want to be doing right now." So recently, I did this campaign where um, usually it's different for every company. Some companies allow you to creative direct with them, not separately. They won't allow you to be a creative director as a photographer, but they do allow you to have a little bit some space for you to have a little bit of that creative direction. It's different for everyone that I worked with, but recently I did this campaign where this company allowed me to kind of pitch my ideas, and I already had a mood board for something completely different. I wanted to do like um a macro makeup type of shoot, a beauty shoot, and it was a for a skincare brand, and they were like, "Hey, B, do you have any ideas where we can like elevate our mood board to next level?" And so I pitched that idea over to them, and they really liked it. So it's different for every brand, but it's important to have already made mood boards just in case there's a little bit of a space where you can throw in your ideas, because that's not only going to elevate the brand's work, but it's really good for you too, because they're willing to book you again and be like, "Hey, this girl really had some really great ideas for the shoot. So let's see if she's willing to do that for the next one and the ones after that." So build those mood boards if you can, even if you have some downtime. I use Pinterest to create my mood boards. Nothing too serious. Nothing I do is too serious. Everything is just like funsies over here. Um, but I'm very passionate about those mood boards because you're able to get your ideas into one space and just kind of mold around like a photo shoot around it. Let's say for a day that you're just like, "Oh, I just want to shoot today, but I don't know what." You have all these mood boards to choose from. And it's good for your own creative projects, and it's good for brands and companies that are hiring you to be their photographer and also have a little bit of that creative direction in there too.
Great answer. Great question and great answer. We're going to do one last question. Let's do Alexander. Sasha, hey, what's up? Good to see you.
Hi, thank you so much
Hello.
again for doing the talk. It's very informative. I guess okay, so I have a question about how do you go about like raising your rates? I feel like I get pigeonholed into the, "Oh yeah, just cover my film costs," and that's cool.
Right.
But like I charge some people, and then some people are like, "Oh well, we have like no budget." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I have like a really, really low base rate," and it's like I guess I'm overly optimistic that they'll be like, "Oh no, no, I'll pay you more than that." And but they're usually like, "No, yeah,
Right.
cool, that sounds good." But it's like I don't know, like I don't know how to like get out of that because it feels like it's kind of a, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of stuck in it. But I
Right.
mean, whatever you have on that, yeah.
That's a common problem to have, honestly. I've struggled with rates forever. I feel like I'm at a good point now where I can feel confident enough to send those out and just, if they're willing to pay for it, that's amazing. But if they're not, it's good to take that in and be like, you know what, it's fine. Someone else is willing to pay for that. So it's, not talking about like larger clients, but I'm talking about maybe just a client that just wants a portrait shoot done. Because I feel like that's where the budget comes in.
Yeah.
You have to kind of put that into consideration. But yeah, that's a really good question. When creating let's say a rate, I like to work within packages. So then there's like package 1, which is like the lowest rate. Package 2 is like a little medium of like a larger rate and a smaller rate. So that's what really worked out for me, is just putting that out there. Of package 1, I have, for example, let's do one outfit. I'm shooting portraits. So package 1 outfit, 1 location, you get 10 photos. And then package 2, it's like, okay, we can do 2 outfits. And then you can still work with 1 location. 1 location meaning like you can like shoot it at the beach and then somewhere close by at the park, right? So then we can still settle with that 1 location shoot, and you can bump up the price to, I don't know, like for example, what, I guess, I don't know, $450. So
Yeah.
you can just go off base from that. It's very random,
Yeah.
but it's something that you can work with, and your client can also work with too, because they're like, wait, I really want to shoot with this photographer, but I have a small budget to work around with. But it's good that you laid out those package prices so they can work around kind of your rate.
Yeah, what's
So then they
closest to
start
their budget too. Yeah.
exactly. So they're willing to work with that, instead of just like, I work with only 1 solid rate. This is what I have to pay, but I don't have enough money to fulfill that. So I can't shoot right now. So it's like, it's good for you to like lay out those packages. If you work with them, I mean, like, go for it. Go for it. If you work with 1 solid rate, it's a little bit harder, but if it's something that's been working for you, then go for it. But I feel like
No, yeah.
package rates are really, really good for
My
them to
solid
kind
rate
of,
has definitely been like, it's been the $0 solid rate, for
yes.
a while.
I've done
So,
free
yeah.
shoots like for
Yeah.
when I started working.
Years,
Like
yeah.
I just wanted to build my portfolio, and I had no one to really like work with. I could reach out to models, but then they can't see your work. So
Yeah.
it's hard for them to like, oh, I don't know if I vibe with this photographer's work. How, I don't know if I should book them. So yeah, I've done free shoots like, oh, I don't even know. It's so embarrassing, but it's been a very, it's been something that I had to kind of work around with and be like, hey, I have to make money from this. And so it's baby steps. It's hard to make, like, especially when it's your passion. It's like, oh, like I'm just willing to do this for free, to be honest. I love shooting. So it's good because you got bills to pay, So you have to set out those rates and be like, you know what, if you pay for it, thank you so much. But if you don't, like, I'm so sorry. You have to say that,
Yeah.
even though it's really hard to like resist the urge of like, oh, but like I would love to get paid and like work around their budget, but most of the time it's not worth it. I promise you, they're gonna make you do more work than you ever did for,
Yeah.
So
Sorry
yeah,
to
you have
follow.
to
Yeah.
respect yourself in that
Yeah.
way.
Sorry, it's been such a long answer. It's just so
Oh
complicated,
my God, no.
because it's like it's a question of like, okay, well, I want to do like, bigger shoots and do like more
Right.
stuff and like more like styling behind it, right? Or even have a cooler location, like get a site,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, well, if I keep working for this like ridiculously like no budget level, it's like, okay, well, I love doing street shoots, but it's like, people will just say, oh yeah, you do street shoots, but I know I'm capable of other stuff. It's just there's not
You're
really
right.
a way to go ahead and do that. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously I can do it myself, I guess, but there's levels to it, I guess. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your question. They were so good. Thank you.
Great question. Great.
If you have any more questions, you can DM me, by the way.
Yes, please hit B up. Thank you so much for everyone's time. Thank you, B, so much for leading this and being so like genuine and honest and open, unbiased. We know I love you, but like I hope everyone here can see how freaking amazing you are. And yeah, like this community, use this community as a resource. Like please feel free to reach out to B. Please feel free to reach out to Luna for anything. Like this is the whole point of everything. So thank you everyone for taking the time to be here.
Thank you guys.
Thoughtful questions, and B, of course, for leading this and having such thoughtful answers.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of your day and week. See everyone.
Bye.